This video is brought to you by the boat insurance specialists. Just out of sight, over the horizon from Land's End, lie one of Britain's best kept secrets. And for boat owners, they are true treasure islands. On a perfectly calm blue sky day, they rival the best the Caribbean can offer. Palm trees and succulent vegetation, clear shallow waters, empty white sand beaches, quiet anchorages, intriguing wildlife, and numerous islands, most of which are only occupied by the birds and the seals. The Isles of Scilly are a little over 20 nautical miles from Land's End. Sometimes a lonely crossing, when sight of another boat is a comforting rarity, and your only companions may be the dolphins riding the bow wave. First landfall is the Eastern Isles, the most magical of which is Hanjag, a solitary outcrop totally devoid of vegetation, surrounded by 20-metre deep ocean. In Cornish, its name means the windy one. Most of Scilly's year-round population of just over 2,000 live on the principal island, St Mary's. St Mary's Harbour is the hub. The Scilonian arrives here daily from Penzance, disgorging its passengers, to be met by a pack of smaller ferries waiting to herd holidaymakers and trippers to the outer islands. These boats claim priority on a crowded quayside. In the ever-bustling harbour, moorings are available, as are petrol and diesel from the fuel dock. Boats are essential parts of the pulse of life here for locals. Every item of food and drink, every product sold in the shops, every item of building materials for the islands, they all pass through the harbour. Anything and anybody going between the islands has to do so by boat. Even the doctor and ambulance are waterborne. If you haven't visited St Mary's before, then it's worth spending time here. And there are surprises around every corner. These windswept islands, way out in the Atlantic, even have their own vineyards. The archipelago is made up of 5 habited islands, 5 uninhabited, some 45 islets, plus countless rocks that break surface and then disappear with every tide. The islands form a lagoon, the heart of which is so shallow that at the lowest of spring tides, runners in an annual race can reach virtually every principal island. At high tide, you could be fooled into thinking that you could sail anywhere between the islands. Only at low tide is the true nature of Scilly revealed. Rocks, reefs and sandbars that lurked just below the surface are laid bare. And a warning. It may be tempting to try and follow the ferries as they buzz between the islands, but remember, they have very shallow drafts indeed, and the speed that they travel at comes with the confidence of generations of boatmanship among the islands. But for me, it's the outer islands that are the true treasures of Scilly. And of those, Tresco is probably the best known. It's the only privately owned island, held on a long lease for almost 200 years by the Dorian Smith family. The rest of Scilly is part of the Duchy of Cornwall. One of Tresco's main highlights is the world-famous subtropical Abbey Gardens. In the sheltered microclimate of the island, they're home to around 20,000 species of plants from around the world. There are anchorages to both east and west of Tresco. To the west, the channel between the islands of Tresco and Briar has fixed moorings available for visitors. Though don't be fooled by the tranquil appearance. The tides run strong and fast through the channel. And the anchorage to the east, in St Helens Pool, holds no hint to the grisly days when St Helens Island was a quarantine station. Any ship heading for England with plague cases on board was isolated in this anchorage. This is Cromwell's castle at the northern end of Tresco Channel. It's hard to imagine that these remote islands once played a significant role in British mainland history. But the remains of fortifications from Civil War times still guard the approaches to the Isles. And also on Tresco are the ruins of King Charles's castle, a blockhouse built to defend the islands from French attack. Tresco is very much the timeshare island and has a very different atmosphere and clientele to its neighbours to east and west, St Martin's and Briar, and to the only other inhabited island, St Agnes.